Okay. And then, after the tour, what did you end up doing?
Um, Actually, I came home and I was called to come to the studio to play for DJ Quick.
Okay, so when you say come home, so where's home then at that time? You said
Home
Los
was
Angeles?
yes, home was Los Angeles. And
Okay.
and a friend of mine named Robert Bacon, he played with me on Tracy Spencer's tour
Mm.
and the television stuff. So he called me to the studio to play on a record for DJ Quick. And we actually did Arsenio. So I did Arsenio again with DJ Quick. And then from there, we went into the studio and I played on various songs on his third album that he was doing at the time.
Okay.
Yes. So that's when I went from a musician and I started producing.
So how did it work though? Because I would have thought that they would have used NPCs and programming and not really need a live drummer. So how did Quick say why he wanted to get some live a drummer to come in?
Well, because Quick himself, he's always been a fan of live music.
Okay.
Even though he's a rapper and a musician, but he loves live music. And he was actually the first rapper back then to have a band, on television, and to even have a band on tour. He was the first. So he took the chance, and it actually worked. Yeah.
Oh, was that third album the one with El DeBarge on? No.
No, 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 no. The third album was it was called Safe and Sound. Yeah, the Elder Barge one, I believe that was maybe the fifth or sixth album.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, why did you agree to stop touring to go in with Quick? What made you feel convinced that this may be worthwhile?
Well, because once I got a taste of the studio, that was my first time ever really being in a studio like that. And once I got a taste of it, it was like another level. It was another world, you know? And I was like, man, like, I like this. Like, this is different, you know? And so, Quick actually introduced me to, to production, to producing. And once I got a taste of it, like it changed my world.
Okay, what did he
Yeah.
do? How did he get you convinced to try it?
Well, because I started I played on a couple of records, and on his third album, and then I remember we were doing a song, and he needed vocals, somebody to sing, and a lot of people back then didn't know that I also can, that I can sing.
Oh,
not like I'm not like a lead singer, but I can sing background parts and harmonies and that sort of deal. So I took a stab at it and it worked. So from then it went from singing to me coming up with an idea on this other record that he was working on as far as the musical parts. And from there, that
what
turned
record was
into,
that?
It was I mean, well, the title was kind of,
Okay, that's fine.
but
So what did you do to the track what did you what was the concept you brought out?
I came up with the bass line.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was actually it was two records, but one of them, it was a record that was called Dollars and Cents.
Okay.
And the way that Quick used to come up with ideas back then is he would program the drums, and even if if we were at the studio or even at his house, because he had a studio at his house too. So he would program the drums and just let the drums play all day. And, you know, so he'll be cooking or, you know, going up and down and would come up with an idea. So I started messing around with the keyboard and I came up with the bass line for for the first part of Dollars and Cents. And he came running down the stairs. And he said, that's it. And from then, it's like we just started gelling and we became like, you know, like partners, you know? So he asked me to be a part of the project. And then that's where, you know, I became very, very, very influential in that album, in the Safe and Sound album.
Okay. Now,
yeah, so
did you miss when you were doing that? Did you not think, man, I need to be back on the road and I'm missing out on some real money touring? Because it must have been at least some guaranteed income when you're on the road touring.
No, because actually the production money was way bigger than the road money.
Oh,
yeah, you know, because you know, being a producer, the production money came from the label, so it came out of the budget. You know, being on the road back then, we were probably getting maybe, I mean, if I'm correct, maybe like $500 a night, a show, you know, something like that.
Okay.
You know, if that, but you know, the producer money was way bigger. That changed my life.
Wow. But then at that time, then, because who goes through the details of, okay, you're doing you're working on an album, and so the figures, the money, the ownership, royalty, how does that all get sorted out?
We actually did everything as we were going along, because you know there were other people involved. So like if I did, you know, like half of the music or, you know, produce vocals and all that, you know, some records I got 50%, some records I got 30%. It just all depends on what my input was.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
But then, you know, because most of the artists that are even sometimes the producers that I interview, they come into the industry green, so they know the music side, but the business side, that becomes almost like an afterthought because you're just caught in the moment. The actual business side of things, did you know much about it before you got in, and did you have an opportunity to learn before you signed up?
No, I was green to the business side of it, but Quick made sure that everything was fair and everything was across the board. So, you know, I had to learn fast, but but you know, lucky for me, he played fair. So he wasn't trying to cheat nobody, and everything was in black and white, you know. So I had to learn overnight, but you know, I was lucky. You know, there was a lot of cats back then that was getting raped, if you will, you know, but I was lucky in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, Snoop talks about not even all the songs he wrote, you know, signed to Death Row. He didn't get any. It wasn't in his name, so he didn't own the publishing. So that's why I just wondered if people like that were getting, you know, on the West Side, whether you were fortunate to get to know publishing and splits and royalties and all that stuff.
Yes, I learned all that from my experience with Quick, just in that that time period of doing that album. Like it was like a crash course, but I learned fast. And you know, from there, you know, I just started producing. I kind of hung up playing drums, and you know, I didn't go back on the road. Actually, I did go back on the road. I'll take that back. I went on the road because I went on the road with Brandy.
Oh.
The artist Brandy, and I was the MD.
Okay.
Yes. So, but I went on the road just to kind of whip the band in shape and, you know, to get everything started. And then And then I hired another drummer, and I came back home because actually at that time I was producing with Quick, and then we had ventured off and started doing stuff with Death Row.
Oh.
So I was out on the road with Brandy, and I'll never forget, I was in the hotel, and the hotel phone rang. And so when I answered the phone, it was Suge. It was, yeah. And I'm like, you know, Suge was like, you know, what are you doing out there on the road? I'm like, you know, I'm out here with Brandy. And I'm like, how'd you find me? He said, don't worry about that. So I'm like, how does this dude know where I'm at? Like, right. So he said, look, man, you know, we have work to do. I need you to come back home. And I'm like, all right. So I substituted another drummer and came back home, and you know, we were working on the Death Row stuff, you know, and that's a whole nother venture. That's a whole nother, man, Jesus Christ, that's a whole nother conversation, man.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the Halftime Chat community. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, why don't you consider being a member? That's a way of supporting the channel, but also getting a lot of videos ahead of time, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and some exclusive content that doesn't get shared. But anyway, thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of Halftime Chat. Sweet.